day. You know, we have kind of a brisk day outside, and yet the warmth of our hearts inside is what's really important right now. And it's neat how God brings people together, and how He's the one from the very start who has instituted marriage as well. So I'm first going to ask Keith a question. Who gives this woman to be married to this man?
I do.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. As I mentioned, God's the one who's instituted marriage from the very beginning. I just want to read that from Genesis chapter 2. That when He started the world, on the sixth day He created man, and He said, let us make man in our own image, as male and female. And so He created them in that way. And then He gave Adam some duties, and here's what He told Adam. The Lord God said, first of all, it's not good for a man to live alone. I'll make a suitable helper and companion for him. So He took from soil from the ground and formed all the animals and all the birds. Then He brought them to the man to see what the man would name them. And that was how they got their names. So the man named all the birds and all the animals, but no one of them was suitable companion to help him. Then the Lord God made the man fall into a deep sleep. And while he was sleeping, He took one of the man's ribs and closed up the flesh. And He formed a woman out of the rib and brought her to the man. And the man said this, Leo, at last, here is the one of my own kind. She is bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, for she was taken out of man. And this is why a man will leave his father and mother to cling to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. Leo and Karen, if you would please face one another and hold hands. I'm going to ask you to just say I do after the vows. Both will be the same vows for all of you. But Leo, you'll go first. And if this is your vow to Karen, please say I do at the end after I repeat it. Okay. Leo, do you take Karen to be your wedded wife, to have and to hold, from this day forward, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish, till death do you apart, according to God's holy ordinance?
I do.
Okay. Karen, it's the same vow to Leo. Karen, do you take Leo to be your wedded husband, to have and to hold from this day forward, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish, till death do you apart, according to God's holy ordinance?
I do.
And I understand each of you have some rings you want to present to one another. And Leo, if you want to take Karen's ring first, and if you place it on the third finger of her left hand. There you go. And if you will repeat this ring vow after me. I give you this ring.
I give you this ring.
In token and pledge.
In taking the pledge.
Of our constant faith and abiding love.
And constant abiding love.
Okay. And Karen, you have a ring also for Leo. If you could place that on the third finger of his left hand. Right there. There you are. And repeat the same vow after me. I give you this ring. In token and pledge. Of our constant faith and abiding love. God's been the one who's been the paradigm for not only marriage but also love itself. And I just wanted to leave you with a few thoughts that come from 1 Corinthians chapter 13. And it's really a definition of what love is all about from that chapter that the Apostle Paul talks about. Here's what he says. Love is patient and kind. It's not jealous or conceited or proud. Love is not ill-mannered or selfish or irritable. And love does not keep a record of wrongs. Love is not happy with evil, but is happy with the truth. Love never gives up, and it always has faith, hope, and patience, and they never fail. Love is eternal. There are inspired messages, but they're temporary. There are gifts of speaking in strange tongues, but they will cease. There is knowledge, but it will pass away. For our gifts of knowledge and inspired messages are only partial. But when what is perfect comes, the partial will disappear. When I was a child, my speech, my feelings, and my thinking were those of a child. But now I'm an adult. I have no more use for childish ways. What we see now is like a dim image in a mirror. Then we will see face to face. What I now know is only partial. Then it will be complete as God's knowledge of me. Meanwhile, these things remain: faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love. Just three quick thoughts I want to share with you, Karen and Leo. One is, first of all, 1 Corinthians 13 tells us that love is patient and kind. And every one of us has habits and quirks. And we know that in this room. And that's just part of who a person is. But as we think about that, we need to be patient with people, and we need to realize that kindness is a part of what love is all about. And so we are forgiving of those idiosyncrasies and those habits and those quirks. Because as we think about that, as I thought today, God is very patient with us and very patient with me. And because of that, we need to be patient with one another. It also says love is not self-seeking. It's a giving love, and it's quick to give and not just to receive. Now, obviously you have to receive when you give something, but it's more quick to give than it is to receive. And our example is Jesus himself. He was the ultimate one who gave of his life to us, and he left the realm of heaven to come down as a human being to find out exactly what we were like and to experience those same temptations just like we do. And he called himself the Son of Man. Others called him the Son of God, but he called himself the Son of Man. And here's what he said: the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for men. And finally, love keeps no record of wrongs, but it's willing to forgive. And I think part of what that means is not that we can always forget what was done to us, but it means not holding that against that person anymore. That's what forgiveness is all about. And it also means that we don't bring that up anymore. My mentor in seminary said to me something that I've always remembered. He said, when I was a teenage boy, my father, I got into trouble because one night I wrecked the car. And I called up my father and said, Dad, there's a real problem here. The car's been wrecked and I can't get home. And the dad came to the site and had the car towed and finally said to Rick, okay, we'll talk about this in the morning. And they did, and he got his appropriate punishment. But he said, you know, my dad never brought that up again, ever. So I knew he really forgave me. He didn't hold it against me. So I pray this love will be the foundation of your new marriage together. That love is patient, love is kind, not self-seeking. It really does keep no record of wrongs. 1 John 5:19 says this: John the apostle wrote this, and was disciple, was the fisherman, a simple man.